The National Center for Infectious Diseases is looking to recruit 100 COVID-19 patients by the end of next year. It's part of a global trial to test the effectiveness of a monoclonal antibody treatment for the coronavirus. Singapore is the third country to join the NIH ACTIV-3 trial after the US and Denmark. 260 patients are on board this global trial, which aims to enroll 1,000 patients worldwide. For more, we're joined by Associate Professor David Lye, Senior Consultant and Director of the NCID's Infectious Disease Research and Training Office. Thank you, Professor, for joining us. Firstly, before we go into more detail, can you tell us what exactly is monoclonal antibody treatment and how will it be administered?
Well, monoclonal antibody is a new class of drug. They are purified, manufactured pharmaceutical-grade antibody, which is highly potent against the COVID virus. And most of the leading international candidates target different parts of the spike protein, those nice little spikes on the virus. And some of them are given as a combination, we call them a cocktail, and some of them are modified last 2 to 3 months instead of the usual 3 weeks. And the best thing about it is that it's only one single injection. So it's a new class of drug that is now entering phase 3 clinical trial around the world.
Professor Lye, we know that you'll be targeting patients with pneumonia and a smaller group that needs oxygen. So is selection based on symptoms, stage, or the severity of illness?
Thank you. So now COVID infections actually recover on its own without any problem. So we will only treat patients who are sick enough to be hospitalized. So in Singapore, this will usually be older patients with chronic health problems such as diabetes and high blood pressure, or those patients with lung infection, or patients needing oxygen, or patients needing a machine to help them to breathe. So this is the purpose of this sort of treatment trials, to focus on helping sick patients with COVID to recover faster.
And are there enough patients meeting these criteria here in Singapore? And we've been rather fortunate that there hasn't been an ICU case in recent weeks.
Yes. So we have fairly low numbers for a while, but the economy is opening up. So we have to be prepared. Currently, we have this trial just started this week in Singapore, and as we learned from this week, there was a patient in intensive care. So this virus is unpredictable. We got to be ready and to give our patients the best treatment. So this trial started in August, as we know, in the US, and it took a while for us to get it started in Singapore. But we are now happy that we are ready to enroll the first patient, and we'll be looking closely for such patients around Singapore.
Professor, saying that, we understand that NIH ACTIV-3 is a phase 3 trial. So were Singapore patients involved in the earlier stage trials? What are some of the preliminary findings from those earlier trials? And, how are those results incorporated into the current trial?
Yes. Well, most of the phase 1 trials in monoclonal antibodies are actually done in the US, where the antibodies are developed. And this is a follow-up trial to prove that it will work in sick patients in the hospital. Until this stage, there are 2 effective treatments for COVID-19. The first one is remdesivir, which is through the US NIH ACTIV-3 trial. We were part of that, and it proves that remdesivir actually helps patients recover faster by 5 days. And among those patients needing a small amount of oxygen, it actually reduces death by about 70%. So every patient in this trial will receive remdesivir. The other effective treatment proven to date for COVID-19 is dexamethasone, which is a steroid. And that was proven by the UK recovery trial. And it shows that the really sick patients who need a machine to help them to breathe will reduce death by about 35%. So in this trial, if the patient is intubated, they will also be given dexamethasone. But the main purpose of this trial is to test whether, in addition to these drugs, whether this antibody will improve the outcome of patients with serious COVID infections. And we do hope.
And just quickly, how long are you expecting this trial to take?
International trial. We expect it at this stage, given the rate of recruitment, we expect the first antibody, which is by Eli Lilly, should complete enrollment by the end of January 2021. But there's already 2 or 3 more candidates in the pipeline, and it will continue until that enough monoclonal antibodies have been proven to be effective for COVID-19.
All right. And we wish you all the best on this. Thank you so much, Professor, for speaking to us. We've been speaking to Associate Professor David Lye, Senior Consultant and Director at the National Center for Infectious Diseases.